On the 307th episode of the 365 Mr. Center Show, we're looking at people cards in Viva Connections, where you can search from the dashboard. I'm enthused about that. We've got Microsoft Search, and something that Daniel and I had to scratch around and try and find before we could actually comment about this message. But it's in our headlines anyway, video search and Bing. And lastly, this is one I think we're going to talk about for a bit. Viva Connections, Microsoft Viva refreshed landing experience for Viva Connections on desktop. Sounds like a mouthful, but you'll see when we get into the episode. Let's roll it.
That was involved.
That was involved. Quite a tongue twister. It all just came so naturally. But welcome to the show, everyone. And thank you, Daniel, for always joining me and doing this battle every week as we either are overwhelmed by so much to talk about, or we look and we go, how do we prepare people for that change when we're not even sure what
We are two gladiators in the Colosseum of messages for you, the people.
So what's the quote then, Daniel? What's the quote? Are you not informed?
You must be informed after this.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You just said
you're not
we
entertained.
Battle, so, yeah. You said we battle, so I figured we were gladiators. So
that was a good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everybody. Can't you tell? We're going to give you some value here today. So why don't you give us a thumbs up on this video? And if you are listening to the audio podcast, why don't you go ahead and give us a 5-star rating if you're so inclined. Make sure you're subscribed so you get a notification of whenever we post a video or the audio podcast. We'd love to have you around regularly. And make sure you comment. Give us your comments. Give us your feedback, your thoughts on the things we talk about. Maybe the things we don't talk about. Hey, you missed this message, and I think that's important. We'd love to hear that, too. In the comments, right, Daryl? As well as on the socials.
Yeah. Look, the socials, we deliberately engaged in one or two of the things that appeared in the message center this week. And we did have a good chat with friends and family. Family in terms of, the family of people that want to be informed about what's happening in Microsoft 365. Yeah.
You people. You people out there in the podcast world, podcast land.
Yeah.
So, speaking of having messages and doing those privately, but you didn't. We didn't. This is a terrible transition. This is terrible. Let's talk about how we can engage.
I'm here for your bad segues.
Let's talk about how we can engage less on Viva Engage.
Yeah, totally. What a great way of putting it. All right, well, this is, let's just say that it could be significant to some organizations to guide them towards something. Viva Engage Admin Center toggle to disable private messages within your network, MC683037. After the 20th of November, you're going to have this toggle. What does this toggle allow you to do? Turn off private messaging in your Engage network. And you maybe you want to just narrow down the number of places that you can have private messages, and you want people to do this in, well, the message puts it as, where is it, like other chat experiences. But I think what they really mean is we think you should be doing this in Teams chat. So that's what it is. It's about turning off that option, and then you're able to just guide people through to the alternate experience. If this toggle is selected, users will lose access to all of their private messages. So this is something you have to be considerate of, that it's not that you turn it off and people can go back still and see everything from that point backwards and recall and talk about stuff. No. You just won't see that feature anymore. Like, it's gone. I don't know if it means, though, that it'll be recoverable or you can go and see it, but it looks like the content remains ingested in eDiscovery.
Right, yeah, it's discoverable, but I'm not entirely sure you're going to be able to go back at all, except for doing a search that way in those products. So, yeah, I think, Daryl, this addresses two things for me. One is that what to use when. Why would I use PM here, private message here? Why would I use a chat in team? Like, when would I use one of those? But the other is just remembering where you had that conversation. Someone sends you a message, you're like, wait, didn't we talk about this? And you go in Teams and you're looking and I can't find it. Well, it's because it was over in Engage when we were having that private message. I think
I don't
this is
recall it,
interesting.
Daniel, if like, because we get this anyway on socials and in our kind of like public sphere, that we have the discussion in the product that we're currently in. I'm in X, and I might DM you because that's what I want to refer you to, a post or something. Or I might be in Messenger and I'll do it there. And by removing the private messaging from the Engage experience, then we need to do it in this other choice or other choices that we might have, Teams chat, for example.
Yeah.
Well, how do we bridge that gap? I've seen
Transition.
a conversation in Engage. Do I copy the link and do the manual thing, or is there going to be a button eventually that says discuss this in Teams chat?
See, that's where I was going. I think it could be interesting if they enable that. I don't know if they're going to or not. I have no idea, but that would be interesting. Very interesting, a lot, because with Viva Engage and Teams, they don't meet. They're like those feuding cousins. I mean, they're not, but I mean, you can't have an Engage community with a team in a group, right? In a 365 group, you get one or the other. You don't get both.
Yep.
Those kind of things. So, with them being that separate, it would be interesting if they brought them together in that way, where there's a flow of, well, you click on someone's name, you want to send them a message, okay, and it pops up Teams with a chat ready to go to that person. That would be cool. Obviously I'm not seeing that in this, and it probably won't be available anytime soon, but hey, feature request. Microsoft, go ahead and throw that on the pile.
We know you're listening. We know
That's
you're
right.
listening. So this change, when will it happen? The toggle will appear as of 20th of November. That's quite a specific time. Yeah. But yeah, look out for it if this is going to be something of interest to you. And, make that feature request to bridge the gap. So what can I say, Daniel? This is really the thing that I really want to talk about with you. And that is, it's about a refreshed experience in Viva Connections. Let's get to it.
Okay. So this one is Microsoft Viva, refreshed landing experience for Viva Connections desktop, MC682306. So this has been alluded to. You've seen actually this screenshot in some of the presentations Microsoft has given. We talked about last week being able to theme, Microsoft Viva Connections sites and everything with one theme, and so it was kind of alluded to there and talked about. So this new desktop refresh for Viva Connections is, I'll go ahead and say I like it in that it's pretty slick. Like it's fresh. It has, I think they've done a good job with the background coloring. They've separated the sections well, and it looks kind of slick. And it's highlighting the announcements at the top. It's highlighting news. It's got the dashboard. It is all. It's very much, I think, fresh, and it feels fresh to me. I say all that. Also, for those that don't know, I really didn't like the first version of the default experience in Viva Connections. Now, I don't think this makes me into someone who goes like, "Oh yeah, this is the way you should go. You shouldn't use SharePoint as your home site," but I do like the new fresh look of it. Now, with that said, let's talk about some of this functional changes, shall we?
We shall.
One thing that I do like is that new look of the kind of that hero experience at the top with information. So that is nice. It has org news.
That's
and that connections
just news,
feed.
is it?
It's the connections feed into that viewport is what they're calling it. And I like that. But before you get to that, one thing you'll notice it's like a tabbed experience at the top. There's a second tab of feed. That's right. They have removed the feed, your connections feed from the home page, from this home page of Viva Connections, and now it's in this second thing. So if you want to see the feed, which frankly is a lot of the customization, the targeted of content, right? Because it's your feed. So you have to click that now instead of it being on the page. I'm not a fan of that at all. I hate clicks. I hate extra clicks. The other thing that is happening is the resources. You'll go, oh, there's the resources, which is those are the links that is navigation, right? Mm-hmm. No. So resources is a new section that is flexible and allows you to use it. But at the bottom of this message, though, it tells you if you want to transfer your existing links from your global navigation to the new resources section, then here's all your steps you have to take. So,
It's not one and the same.
No, that part is the part where it's a bit confusing because they're actually changing it, the functionality a bit on that. So for me, it's going to be that place where you can create those links that are going to be important to you for your organization. It's kind of like that link farm is what I've called it before. Working with organizations, they want a place for people to go and have all the links to all the stuff, that is available to them, all the apps and everything. So you can have those links, and then you can have. There's going to be a maximum of 48 that you can have. So that's.
I see. There's a show
links.
More thing that you can click on, and it will expand that section, I guess.
Yes. So this is a change, right? That you're going to have to go through to figure out how you're going to use this, and how it differentiates between the navigations and the global navigation, and how
where is the global navigation then in this?
Well, it's still in the same spot of you can click on the Viva Connections app icon, right, and to go to that, and
then it'll come out as a panel.
Yep.
But so, what we know of as resources in the mobile experience is not going to be resources in it. Well, not here. It's the same thing, but it's not the same thing.
Right. It is apparently not the same thing. And so I think it's going to be important to read more about this, which actually don't look for a read more bit link in this message at all, because there isn't one. So there's no additional information to get more, insights into this. So there's some changes here. Again, at first glance, I like the way it looks, but then there's some definite changes that are going to change the way organizations are using this. Then there comes to the rollout of this. There's 2 phases.
Yes.
Daryl?
Well,
this is the first time I've ever seen any kind of rollout like this before. So there's going to be a first phase rollout. The difference between the phases, they have different names, and they have different timelines. So
Okay.
that's it. That's all I know. The
Not
phase
features.
The phased
Right.
one rollout is expected to start early November and be completed by mid-January. And then phase 2 rollout is expected to start early February and go through late March. I don't know what's included in phase 1 and what's included in phase 2. No clue.
We don't know if they're groups of people or feature sets or, like maybe
Right.
phase 2 could be the transformation of resources into this new form of resources, but we don't know.
Right. We don't know. And this will, for those change agents out there, if you're trying to help your organization understand this and use this, that's going to be the tough part, because you're going to have to communicate, hey, things are changing, and you're not going to be able to say, these things are changing at this time, and then these things are changing at this time. You're just going to have to say, these things are changing, and it's going to be a phased rollout from early November to late March. And just know that it's changing. As administrators, you're going to have to hit up this resources bit, and you're going to need to do it now, for it to be available. If you want to have those resources be the same links as global navigation, you're going to have to go follow this process to get those all set up and be the right ones that you want. But it is my understanding they're not going to sync in the future. So if you change them in one, you're going to have to change them in the other, right? So just know that that's what's happening.
More in this space, and I'm sure it'll become a bit clearer when Ignite comes out. Maybe gives us a bit more detail, like what does this feed page look like?
Yeah, indeed. And so what you can do in the meantime is fire up a whiteboard and then go and maybe share it with specific people. That's
You
a
could.
terrible transition.
You
That was
really could.
terrible.
No, that's
I'm sorry,
very,
people.
very
That's
specific.
terrible. Oh my gosh.
Whiteboard, specific people. Share link fallback MC 682305. We add a whiteboard to a meeting. We add a whiteboard to various different places, and we usually, by default, it may share with your whole organization. And that's super convenient, right? Because it means you could invite people in to be part of the whiteboard collaboration. But for some organizations, the company-wide sharing link, the option to share with everyone across the org has been turned off. And this is, maybe for security reasons, to make sure that things aren't being overshared, that when you do share, it's only with specific people and you don't have to think about these org-wide links that are hanging around out there that might be sharing stuff too widely. Could be quite important in a whiteboarding sense, because you might be brainstorming some new strategic things, and you don't want to necessarily share it with everyone and make it available to everyone. So if you're an organization that's turned that off, up until this point, Whiteboard doesn't know how to handle that. You would go to share and it'd be, I don't know, and there'd be an error. So now this is a fallback where if you are an organization who's turned off company-wide sharing links, then it will go fall back to specific people, which actually I feel, Daniel, should be the default. If you're in a meeting and you're sharing a whiteboard with the people on that meeting, then it should default to specific people anyway, and gather together all the people that are on the meeting and say, here's your roster of people that this is shared with.
I would think that's the most frequent used scenario for Whiteboard is you're working with a team, small team, big team, whatever. You're working with a team, whether it's meeting focused or not. So shouldn't it be, focused on sharing with specific people? So it seems logical to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe it comes to play where it gets a bit harder to do that when you've got a whiteboard as a tab in a team, and that that list of specific people. If it's a large team, it can be quite unruly. But it's good to see that default is going to fix that scenario, where if you've turned the company-specific link off, it will fall back on specific people. So that's rolling out mid-October, so that's already happening, and will be finished by late October, which is next week.
No. It's now-ish.
Yeah, now-ish.
Now-ish.
Daniel, sometimes I need to search for people as soon as I open up my team's experience of Viva Connections. Have you got something for me?
I do. For all those people that want to, they say, where are my people at? Well, I can help you with that. People search card in Viva Connections, MC682303, and it's exactly what the title says. There's a new card. That's those dashboard cards, right? There's a new card that's going to be available that will be called People Finder. So it's going to be a people search card, and you're going to be able to search for people. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, there's not much here. So you're going to be able to search. It's going to be intelligent. You type a first name, which I think is showing here in the screenshot. You type a first name, it's going to suggest this last name. I mean, it's going to have that type ahead kind of intelligence.
The top hit for Kristen Patterson is
Yes.
Kristen Patterson.
Indeed it is. It very much. They got it right on spot. And so you're going to be able to connect. Now, what happens when you click on that person? That's a very good question. We don't know. What do we get if you hover? I'm assuming if you hover, you're going to get some contact information. Now, that's an assumption. I'm saying all these things to kind of point out we don't have more information here, and I wish we did. I wish we had a little bit, but it is rolling out pretty soon. So hopefully we'll have access to it pretty soon so we can quickly determine, do we need to add this to our dashboard in Viva Connections to, allow people access to this. So you're going to be able to, because you're in the dashboard, you'll be able to, it says here, connect using Teams chat or email. So I'm assuming that's what's going to pop up. You're going to be able to, connect with them that way. But I would, again, lots of assumptions here. I would assume it's the people card. That's what I would expect.
No, because a lot of these dashboard cards, when you click on them, they have like this sort of pop out, and it starts to provide other information or other ways to interact. It'd be nice if it was the people card, but
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see, because we don't know, because it didn't tell us and didn't show us. But hopefully we'll get access to that soon. So
yeah,
I think there's another way to find people, though, and that's in search. And I wonder if we can find other things in search. Daryl, is there anything else we could find in search?
That would be my linking comment too, Daniel. Is nice to have a card that does this, but if we showed people how to use the search box, then we could have unified search. But let's continue with that thought. That if you're an organization that is using Microsoft Search, then maybe this will be useful for you. Video search in Bing, Office.com, and SharePoint, MC681879. And if you are using the Bing search and you click on the Work tab to show work results, then you get this refiner down the side, and video is there. Lets you focus in on video content, and you can see videos from within your organization. That's it. We had to hunt around a bit as we were preparing for the show. Like, we weren't familiar with this view because we don't often go there ourselves. But it's coming to Bing. It's coming to Office.com and SharePoint, and I feel like that the screenshot is of the Bing experience, but maybe it's the Office.com and SharePoint part which will show videos differently.
Well,
yeah, okay.
The thing that caught us off guard was what is the experience that they're showing this screenshot? And really what it is when you do a search in Bing, and you have Bing for Enterprise, right? And you click on the Work tab at the top, it takes you into that experience that they're showing there, and that was a little bit confusing. As far as for video in search, it is there, and you're able to filter by type when you do a search like in SharePoint. But I don't think that's exact experience that they're looking for. I'm assuming. Now wait, I'm doing a lot of assuming here today. Has people noticed this?
You are, man.
Again, with the lack of detail, people. I'm assuming that they're going to add a search vertical in and make that available in the SharePoint experience, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm assuming because that would be the best way to do it. Is to have that along with all files, sites, and people and news, video, right? That would be the best thing to do.
Agreed. So that is rolling out in. Hang on. Rolling out in April in Microsoft Search.
Yeah, they
Is this an
started
old message,
this.
Daniel?
No, they started the rollout and have not finished it, and so they're going to be finishing it very soon. That's what's going on here. Yeah.
Okay. It's a follow-up from an April message.
It
Apologizing
is,
for the delay in communication. We're almost done. And we are almost done, Daniel. Fill us in on what's happening in Power BI and Fabric.
Yes. Stuff's going to get removed, and you're going to miss it. Changes to workspace retention settings in Fabric and Power BI MC681890. Currently, when you delete a workspace is the container for your data sets and your reports and dashboards. That container, if you delete it right now, then it has a retention of 30 days before it's permanently deleted. Okay? Well, they're going to introduce a setting for admins to go into that to change in the admin portal to be able to set that retention instead of 30 to 7 or to 90. So you can pick, anywhere in there. You can pick a 63-day retention if that's your fancy, so that when a workspace is deleted, then it would then be permanently deleted 63 days later. Now, this does not affect the behavior of workspaces in premium or Fabric capacity. And I'm not going to get into too much detail of what those are, but if you think about, basically it's a premium experience. You're paying more so you can have a dedicated capacity. And if you have that dedicated capacity, it's not going to be part of this setting. That will be retained for 30 days before being permanently deleted, and that's the way it is. Okay, so you're not going to be able to change it. Here's the thing, though. The kicker is they're going to enable this, but the default retention is now going to be 7 days instead of 30 days. So just know that that is what's happening here, is that if you've relied on this as, it's there for 30 days and people know this, and now it's going to change to 7. So if you want to retain it to 30, then you're going to need to change that setting to 30. So just everybody know you need to go in there and change it back to 30, because the default's going to be 7. Yay! Do you use Recycle Bin, Daryl, at all as an extra folder? Because some people do that,
But when I do, I expect to go in there and find stuff that's older than 7 days. Yeah, that's a short period. And if you don't change that default, like you said at the beginning when you're introducing this message, it's likely you're going to lose stuff that you may not have intended to delete.
Yeah. So I want to clarify one thing that I said earlier, and I misspoke. So when I was talking about dedicated capacity, it's not that if the workspace is in dedicated capacity, it doesn't follow this. It's that if you delete a dedicated capacity, the functionality is that those workspaces are then moved to shared capacity. So those in the Power BI world, you know what I'm talking about. Workspaces by default are in shared capacity, shared across the service with everybody, right, across tenants. So if that's what it's talking about, the dedicated capacity. If you delete that dedicated capacity, then it just moves those workspaces into shared. It doesn't delete them, is what it's saying. All right. So that's what it's talking about. Okay. And then my workspaces, which is your personal workspace that you get. Everyone gets one, whether you have a paid license or you have a free license to Power BI, you get a My Workspace. Those will still be retained for 30 days. All right. So I wanted to clear that up. It's in the fog of Power BI. I messed that up earlier. Will you forgive me, please?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay,
Because
thank you.
I wouldn't have the foggiest.
Ah, look at you. Look at you. Well, that has brought us to the end, Daryl, of just this episode. Not like the end of everything.
Whoa, yeah. Let's not be so final.
Right. To the end of this episode. Everyone, thank you for being here and listening. But again, we'd like to continue the conversation through the week. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on the topics that we pick, the messages, things we didn't pick. If you want to discuss them, let's talk about them. Hit us up on the socials. You can do the same there as well. We're on all the socials that matter. So hit us up. We'd love to talk to you about things.
Are we on Blue Sky yet?
Like I said, all the socials that matter.
Okay.
Yep. So thank you everyone for watching and listening. We really appreciate you. We really do. And tell somebody this week about the show, would you? We'd greatly appreciate that.
Of course we would. Yeah. And we'll be bringing value to you again in episode 308.
Absolutely.
That all depends, I guess, on what they pop into the message center. But we'll always bring some kind of value.
We'll make
right,
something
Daniel?
up in here. We'll make something.
We will.
Up.
We'll make something up. We'll announce
if
something
they
that.
Right. I mean, if they don't, then Daryl is going to sing next week. So if they don't put any good messages in, Daryl's going to give a concert.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
I do have a couple of parodies that they're in the works, but yeah, let's just hope that something decent lands in the message center. See you again all next week, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.